Hi, it's Mrs. Stilianu. Today I'm going to be guiding you through how to make your own sea turtle, right? So what we're going to do first, you guys are going to be using a pencil, but I will be using a Sharpie so that you can see on my video. If I use a pencil, it'll be too light. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start by making a big tear type of shape. Keep it a little bit rounded on the bottom. Okay, so it doesn't come to like a real point. It's a rounded type of point, if that makes sense. So it's a tear shape and it's pretty big. Okay, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make another line that runs parallel on the inside of it. Look at that. So this video is adaptable to a lot of different grade levels. I would say lower elementary is perfect for this. So we're just doing this step by step together. That's the bell. I'm at work doing this. So next thing I'm going to do, once I have that shape, I'm going to look and see if anything needs fixing on it. But if I'm good, what I'm going to do is make my head. So my head looks like this. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is make my flippers on the sides. So I'm going to have two flippers. So watch what happens here. It gets really wide and then it's going to get narrower again where it touches the tear shape. Okay, I'm going to do it again on this side. Same thing. There's always a chance for you to use your eraser and make little, little improvements as you need to. Now what I'm going to do is make a pointy shape. Kind of looks like a triangle. I didn't have to do this part, it's already there. So I'm just making that little pointy shape. And now what I'm going to do is make the feet. So they're pretty big. I'll do one on this side too. Okay, all right. So not bad. We're off to a good start. I know it doesn't look like much yet. Don't worry about it, okay? Watch what we're going to do now. What I'm going to do is make big zigzags on this side, and look, it touches that inner line. So do this part slow, but it's a very big zigzag. And then what I'm going to do is make that same big zigzag on the other side. Don't let the points touch each other. It's a good idea to have the points kind of line up together though. You see what I'm doing? So again, this is another chance for you to make little erasures as you need to. So I'm probably going to be pausing the video for my students at this point, but if you're working right along at home, you work at your own pace. So that's the beauty of working with a video, is that you can go ahead and pause as you need to. So now I'm connecting the shape. You see that? So this is making the diamonds for his back. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is make little lines across his back like this. Just like that. Okay, next thing I can do is I can make a little smile for him if I'd like. That's kind of cute. His face is going to be facing this way, right? Does that make sense? All right. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and make more little zigzags inside of his flippers. These are little zigzags. So we're just trying to show the texture of his skin. So we're trying to show that it's rough. Don't worry about anything being perfect. If you want to put more zigzags or less than I'm doing, that's your personal choice. You can do that. I'm going to do the same on his legs. This is going to be a watercolor project, so soon we'll get our watercolors together and we'll start the next step. But before we can do that, what we're going to do is make the waves. So watch this. We're going diagonal, spacing them apart. Now, don't draw through your turtle. What we're going to do is pause when we get to the turtle. So look, I go boop, boop, boop. I pause. I don't draw through him, but I know it picks up somewhere around here. So you'll want to make maybe 6 or 7 lines for the waves in the back. So you don't have to go too crazy making a lot of lines. Like this is the perfect amount. Okay, so next step is we're going to be starting our watercolor. If I'm with you in class, this might be a part where I'm pausing. If you're at home though, you can go ahead and grab your watercolor kit. I'll show you what we need. So what we're going to be needing is one of these, paintbrush, and a thing of water, a little bowl of water. We're going to be experimenting with putting salt into our sea turtles, okay? I'm going to show you guys how to mix colors. We're going to have some fun today. So when it comes to watercolor, we never mix colors in our palette because you'll end up contaminating the paints. So what it means is that someone else will have a yellow that has another color mixed in with it. Now it's correctable. It's something I can fix as your teacher. I can actually fix that if that happens. So if it happens by accident, just call me over and I'll go ahead and fix it for you. We're going to try our best to not get other colors into these though. But we can mix colors on your painting. So I'm going to show you how to do all that. So when it comes to mixing watercolors, what you want to do is spend a lot of time swirling. Now, I dipped in water first, and the more you swirl, the darker your color is going to come out. Okay? So one thing I never want to do with my watercolors is like dig or push into them. I see sometimes students will like try to use it in like a thick way. Watercolor is not meant to be used like that. Check it out. I'm going to do a light sweep of green over my turtle shell in the center here. So you're going to go along with me. Okay, we're going to do the same color together here, and I'm going to show you how to mix in another color with this. So I used a lot of water first. I'm going to have to do it again because I've run out of paint on my brush. So I'm swirling. And in a minute, I'm going to show you how to do a mixing technique. So again, we never mix colors inside of our watercolor palette. But instead, we are going to mix colors straight on our little turtle. So check it out. So when I'm ready to change my color, what I do is I go and I tap, 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 tap into my water cup here, my water bowl. All right, now the color that I've decided I want to mix in is going to be yellow. So I'll show you how that's done. Now, yes, a little bit of green did just get into there. There was a little bit of green left in my brush. I thought it had it all clean, and it turns out there was a tiny bit of green left in there. So that's something I can fix. So if that happens to you, just call me over. What I'm going to do now is add in a little bit of yellow. You see how that changes it? So you can mix colors right on here. I'm actually just going to grab a towel so I can fix that little area that I got contaminated. So if that happens, if you contaminate your color, you just call me over. I will come right away and fix it for you. So it's as easy as this to fix. I just go and I wipe it if that happens. So, but it's something you want to handle right away. Look, I got a little bit more green in there when I tried to fix it. So accidents happen. Don't be hard on yourself if you have a little accident. So it's no big deal. Most things that we do in art are things that we can fix. Okay, so I'm going to add more yellow into this. All right, so it just changes the color slightly. It might even be hard to see it in the video, but what I've done is added some yellow into here, into the back of him. So what I'm going to do with the rest of him, let's see what happens if we do it in yellow first and then we mix a little green in. Let's see how that changes it. So I'm just being really playful. I'm going to put the yellow. I'm not worried about staying in the lines, by the way. You probably noticed that about me. It's just not something that I get too crazy about. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to paint with yellow on this part, and we'll see what happens when we mix green in. That might actually work out a little bit better. So let's see what technique, or how that shows up with this technique, I should say. All right, so far I like it. So what I'm going to do now is I clean my brush off, of course, and I'm going to add in a little bit of green. Not too much though, because it's going to overpower it a lot. I'm going to dip in my water. Now maybe I'm going to leave some parts yellow. I don't have to go over everything. It could just be like a really, really quick dip. Just putting like a touch of green in there. See how these colors mix together. See what happens. Right? So it's just like the slightest touch of green. I'll go over this part too. I really like how it looks so far. Maybe I'll put a touch of blue into the turtle shell. Just a touch. So I'm being playful, mixing colors right onto my paper. Now everything's dripping because I'm working vertically. That's okay. So today's lesson though is all about learning how to mix colors using watercolor. All right, so just being playful, maybe I'll mix in a little bit of blue. I don't have to put it everywhere. I could like pick and choose little areas that might look good with some blue mixed in. There we go. I think what I'm gonna do is like leave the tips of everything with that yellow. I really like how it looks. It's coming out better than I thought it would. Now, these are the waves for the background. I'm gonna show you another fun watercolor technique. Now this technique is much more watery. So we're gonna put a lot more water into our brush. We're gonna do swirl, swirl, swirl. I'm gonna pick the colors for my waves. So I think what I'll do is make each wave at a time. So the colors I'm choosing for my waves are going to be blue, purple, and a little bit of green. So similar to the colors we were using before, but I just wanna show you what I'm gonna do now. I have salt here, just a little bit of salt. And what I'm gonna do is just sprinkle a little bit in. All right, so I might come around and help you with that part, or I might put some salt at your table. I know it was hard to see what I just did. It's so little and so subtle, but what's going to happen is when it dries, it's going to make a really, really neat effect for us. So we're just playing, we're being really playful today with our colors. So again, I have to move this to do it, but what I'm doing is just putting a little bit of sprinkles of salt in there. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. I'm gonna show you a close-up of that afterwards. So once that dries, it's gonna do some really, really cool things. So right now you may not notice anything, and that's fine. So you wanna work light with your watercolor. It's meant to be worked with in a light way, not in a thick way. So I've been saying that a lot. When I tend to repeat myself a lot, it usually means that it's something very important to note. So we want to make sure we're using our watercolors the right way. All right. So again, I can mix colors in here. I could put a little bit of green in there and see what happens. Ooh, pretty. Okay, so you can mix right into your watercolors. I mean, right into your picture. It's getting a little drippy. Now, if you get drippy drips, call me over, because what I could do is give it a little blot for you. It's kind of getting in his face a little bit. So I can give it a blot. It probably won't really happen for you. It's because I'm working vertically that this effect is happening. And I'm just putting some more salt in. All right, so I dropped the salt in. It's hard to see it. Don't worry, I'm gonna do like a real close-up. Actually, maybe I'll just do that right now just to show you what the salt does. So you can see it here. When it dries, it's going to make a really interesting, really neat effect. So I'm gonna continue. Maybe I'll do this one blue as well, but maybe I'll put some more purple in it. And just finishing up along with you. In school, this is going to really be like a 2-day project, but at home, you could do this in 1 day. Okay. I think what I'm going to do here is put some more purple in this one. So I'm blending in purple into this wave. We're working super watery with the watercolor. We never work thick with it. We work super watery. Okay. And I think what I'll do for my next one is like start with purple. Just being really playful. Oh, I just realized I forgot his tail. Maybe I won't mix any color with this one. You don't have to mix with every single one. You do it your way. I'll do it mine. How's that sound? We can all do it our own way. Okay. And I think I'll do blue again for this last one. Well, actually, this is not the last one. We have one more there. I think I'll do that one green. Now, of course, I can mix in other colors, so maybe I will. Got another bell. All right. So we're basically at the end here. What I'm going to do is just throw a little bit more salt into my picture. I'm going to sprinkle it all around. And what I want to do is let it dry like that. I never take my finger and do any kind of smearing or pushing around of that salt. We just want to let it dry now. When you boys and girls come in next week, what's going to happen is we're going to brush the salt off then. Okay. And we're going to see the cool effects that happen. So I'm just doing a couple little finishing touches here. You might want to do your own finishing touches. What I'm going to do for my finishing touch is just put a little bit more blue in his shell. You could do that, just a touch more. You can do whatever finishing touch feels right for you. Oh, I still forgot his tail. So be playful with these. Doesn't have to look exactly like mine. Let it look like yours. All right. So it's just a really playful little picture. And we've made a sea turtle together. Look at that. All right, guys. I will see you for our next class together. Until then, take care, everybody.